Okay. So let's just do our shot. Guess we need to maybe angle the camera a little bit. I'm standing up. My desk is one of those desks that lets you optionally work in a standing position. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just basically blocking out the stuff that I would want to not be affected if I ran a fill operation. And that failed. Oh, okay, I see why. I guess probably what I'm doing would be better done with a brush than with the freehand path tool. Now that I've got the face basically filled, I can go ahead and give this guy some hair. I'm thinking out loud here because I didn't really want this guy to be too young, right? So I'm wanting him to be kind of gray haired. Let's roll with that. And then I think that works. And then as long as this is the skin color, then let's knock these out. So the way the animation goes, he really just kind of eases into the shot like that. So all I did was draw him and then animate the drawing as opposed to redrawing it. So why am I gonna obviously redraw this again? So what I'm gonna do is I took the largest one, I'm gonna color it and then go in and then make do some transformations of the one large drawing. Alright, so I guess we're going to give Balder a green-ish garment. I've been kind of using green liberally, and my rationale is that TNR's family is, her mother is a merchant, and so in essence we're playing on the psychological association of green with money. Whether a 7-year-old child watching this cartoon is going to appreciate or give a rip about that association is highly debatable. But what I'm doing here is if you click this, preserve alpha, now that he's filled in, we've got, preservation of the alpha. And that means that we don't actually have to use another layer to do shadows. So we can go to black, but then let's make this, typically it seems like about 10% is about right. Okay. So based on I have to look at the edit to see the light direction. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I want to be careful here. Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm thinking, to be fair, throughout the shot, throughout the sequence I'm working on right now, there are some shots where it could certainly be argued that I got the light direction wrong. Again, do 12-year-olds care? Okay, the mistake I just made is that I'm still in behind mode. So I want to go back to normal mode. We're still at opacity of 10%, so cool beans. So we just kind of want to block this guy in, and we don't have to worry about going outside of the lines because of preserve alpha being turned on. Okay, so that's just a general tinting situation. Now what I'm going to do is go in and add the actual shadow stuff, right? So works pretty well. It really does. I like the quality of the imagery Let's redo that one. I think I want to give him a little bit of a shadow under his mustache, not too much. And then here we'll just kind of, just for just a little bit of dimensionality, we'll add some more shading. But I mean, there's no rule, you know, it's just kind of all by feel anyway. Boom, 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 boom. That'll work. Okay, so that's Balder. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, tell you what, probably the sensible thing to do would be, let's make a duplicate here. Okay, turn off layer soloing, and then I'll just go ahead and turn these guys off. Okay, so my point in doing that was now I can take this keyframe and just drag it into this layer, which means, and I should actually put this here so that the colored one is underneath. And so now what I'm going to do is drag, I'm going to control drag this to here. And so now this layer, I'm going to make it a little more transparent so I can see what I did, basically. Okay. Now I can take my animated one, or my colored one, I should say, actually, and just follow the pattern here. Okay, slight shrinkage. I say shrinkage in the animation sense, not in the Seinfeldian sense. If you don't know what that means, because you never watched Seinfeld, then don't worry about it. You're not, you know, you're not in on the joke. But hey, the world will probably keep on turning. If you know what shrinkage is, in the sense that Seinfeld referred to shrinkage, you post something in the comments. Let us know you know what shrinkage is. Okay. And I think I'm going to go ahead and add one more here. Let's shrink him a little bit more. Okay. So now what we can do is actually just kill this layer completely. We don't need it anymore. Alright, and this is what we get with Balder. Marching into the situation. Looks pretty good. Okay, so that's Balder. Let's rename this Balder. Balder is a rough character. He's a rough character. Yes, he is. Okay, so here's Tianara and Kalyana, who is her mother. Okay, why don't we do it this way? Let's grab a brush. We're still in alpha lock mode. That needs to be turned off while we're doing coloring. And let's go to behind mode again. So you might ask, well, why am I like killing myself to keep everything in a single layer? And you know what? The reason is no particular reason. It's just absolutely a preference. I find that it's more fun, and animation is so much work that you might as well have fun. Okay, because you're going to be doing a lot of this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and plan on separating Tianara into her own layer, because the mother has some animation. So let's take her here, and let's just, again, lock alpha. And now we're not going to be in behind mode. We're going to be in normal mode. Once again, setting the opacity of the shadows to 10%. Make sure nothing changed. And then I should be able to just kind of go like this. And then like this. And finally hit the S key. Grab this. And just go Control X, Control V. And now Tianara, which I'll simply call her Tia, is in her own layer. Okay? And so now the mother is in a layer all by herself. Now to be accurate, one might notice that Tianara is still in these other frames. So just for no real particular reason, let me see something. hang on a second here. I need to unselect and turn this on. I'm thinking I inadvertently inserted a key. Oh, I see. Yes. Yeah, what's going on here is when I duplicated the colored version of her into this layer, because the layer it was cut from has a keyframe, it looks to me like the keyframe, the fact that there's a keyframe gets cut and pasted in there, but the data from the keyframe does not. So when you're cutting and pasting from a layer to another, you're not cutting and pasting, you know, like animated content or multiple keyframes or anything. It's just you're just grabbing the picture from that one frame. So anyway, we can turn her back off. And now what I was kind of getting at when I got sidetracked was we can grab this, hit delete. So we've taken Tianara out of Carliana, and it might be Carlina. I don't know. I wanted to give them Anna names, like because they're family, same name, same type of name. Feel free to criticize. This, as you can see, is actually the same shot. So all we need to do is color this, and then we'll duplicate it over here. So let's go back here, and now we're into fill mode. Presumably the inking here is pretty tight, so I think I can probably do fill mode and get away with it. So I don't want alpha on, but I do want it in behind mode. So it looks to me like her garment is kind of a, oops, my bad. There we go. I was going to say a little bit of a grayish kind of color. So now let's give her a, and by the way, I should be saving my work. When I deal with Tianara and her mother, I always take the flesh tone and just kind of ease it slightly like that to the green. Essentially, they are Greek, maybe, kind of olive skinned. So hitting the save button, boom, Control S. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to take the B key. We're still in behind mode. Yeah, I'm always kind of looking to see if Krita's going to inadvertently change things that I didn't expect it to change. Okay, that should do the trick. And now let's just kind of grab, boom. Why is that not filling in even though it's in behind mode? That's a little strange. Let's go back to normal mode. Actually, no. Let's do a fill operation again and see what happens. That seems to be working. Okay, so I'm not sure like what's going on with the freehand path tool, but we'll come back to that. Actually, let's come back to it now. Okay. Oh, it's the opacity. My bad. Okay. So now because we're in behind mode, I can go like this, and it's just going to fill in the flesh tone everywhere. I don't have to worry about stepping on my... Anything that's been colored is effectively protected, so it's kind of a cool methodology. Now, I am going to give her a similar eye color to Tianara. It looks like the shade of green that I favor for them seems to be right here at the peak of the mountain and actually right in the middle as well, so that's convenient. Easy to remember, you might say. Okay, and then usually with eyes we like to go just a little bit off of white, not actually white. Okay, now I'm going to grab this color. Since we're still in behind mode, I can use the freehand path tool and just grab everything. In other words, what we're doing is we're just in case there might have been some slight bits of opacity sneaking through that I can't really see, that'll sort of catch it. Now for this area there really is no rule. Oops, how did that happen? Don't really like that. I think we want to go a little darker. And then here we never really see anything, but if we were gonna assign it, in other words, in the other shots we never really saw this. But okay, so now what I'm going to do is again grab this, because we're in behind mode. We're just whoops. I'm actually, let's not do that yet. Let's go ahead and deal with the necklace. Okay, so this is going to be gold. So here, what we can do is just go like that. Okay? And then I'll use the darker color to sort of fill in any other gaps. Alright, then down here, let's grab this color, take a little lighter version of it, and that will be slightly more towards the blue. Actually, that's not really quite right. I'm looking at the other older shots. It's actually closer to a very, very light sky blue type color. So, okie dokie. Boom. Whoops. Okay, so that takes care of that. Oh yeah, her hair. Let's go ahead and give this a little bit more reddish fill. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and okay, stop. Let me look at this for a minute. Okay, looks like we got a little bit of penciling yet to do, so let's just do that. Boom. Okay, so now we do have a bit of extra noise here. So I'll show you how I clean that out in a hurry without having to actually go in and carefully erase everything. Control M to hit the curves tool, and then you're going to tweak the alpha. And when you're tweaking the alpha, if you actually crank the curve down like that, you can see it dials out the stuff that's on the lighter side. Now I'm going to actually hit reset so I can do this with a straight line. A little stronger. And then here, going to also, you can see it darkening in the lines. If you go to the extreme, obviously you lose your anti-aliasing. So I'm going to say something like that. And then you can see there's still some crap that needs to be fixed. Like that. Okay, so now what we're looking for is leaks, basically. Let's get rid of the leaks. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Fill tool in behind mode. And if I have it on the eraser brush, it's going to use that brush, which means the actual fill operation is going to erase instead of filling in color. So let's just go one step at a time here. Looks like that worked. We're going to use the freehand path tool on the jewelry, so that takes care of that. Boom. Okay. Now in a moment here I'm going to show how I deal with not necessarily being so meticulous about the possible well, I called it earlier alpha sneaking through, but I probably need to explain what I mean by that. What happens is when you do a fill we don't want to be in normal mode. Stop. When you do a fill operation, well, you can see it here. Sometimes the fill operation lets some areas sneak through that didn't actually get filled. So then the question becomes, how do you deal with that? And I'll show you in a second how you deal with it. There's more than one way to deal with it, actually, but okay, so here we have a bit of a problem because I actually forgot to draw that. And we can't be in behind mode. So granted, we are sort of losing the outline. So frankly, it hardly matters, but I can obviously put it back in pretty readily. Let's just take a brush, a pencil if you will, and Check that. Okay, cool. So, cool. And now we need the gold color. Boom. Boom. Freehand path tool in behind mode. Like so. Okay, so now this is what I was going to say earlier. Actually, strike that. I need to get her eyes done first. So let's grab the eyes. And what we'll do is just kind of use the brush here to paint it in my hand. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the freehand path tool and I'll make one little adjustment here. Okay, that looks like it's fine. So what I'm going to do is take the flesh tone and just bring in this whole area. Okay, that just filled in any gaps. And then generally the thought would be that if you're going to fill in more globally, you probably want to favor a somewhat dark-ish color, but not too dark. That kind of sort of works for the whole picture, so you'll have to pay attention closely to see if this actually does anything. Not much. So it looks like I actually did a pretty good job of getting things colored in correctly. So now what we do again is lock our alpha in normal mode with an opacity of 10, black, freehand path tool. Okay, so now we can essentially do what we did with Balder, which is give her an entire tint, an overall tint, and then so you can see that you definitely want to be thinking about what you're doing, because every stroke I make right now is being baked into the art. So there's not really an opportunity to go back and change your mind other than undo, which is fine. You know, obviously if the shadows were on a different layer, you would have the ability to just turn the opacity of the layer up or down. All I'm saying is, in this case, because I'm reasonably confident with what I'm doing, I just don't think it's that big of a deal to boom. And I actually want to put her eyes in a bit of shadow. Okay, so now to a degree, let's get the big shadow in here. So I'm just keeping it real broad. Essentially as simple as possible is kind of the concept. Okay, now here, and by the way, you know, there's aspects of this you could certainly nitpick. And it could be argued that I'm leaving a little bit more variety. Actually, I think I want to shadow in her hollow cheeks, her evil cheeks. She's not like horribly evil, but she's definitely on the evil side. She is on the evil side. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add one more smackerel right there. Smackerel right there. Okay. Okay, so now there's one more aspect of this that's going to be a little tricky, which is that there's some decoration on her costuming. So I'm going to use a brush, and looking at my reference picture, I'm thinking I want a size that's something like that, and what I'm basically going to do is set the opacity pretty low. We're already alpha locked, so by setting the opacity low I can use fairly fundamental colors. Yep, that worked. Right? and just paint them on. And then there was kind of a, I guess a darker kind of blue here. Okay, so let's get the other key first before concerning ourselves with the rest of the decorations such as they are. That's not quite right. We'll go with that. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Do I really need to put in the string surrounding her gold necklace? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm looking at the... I just made a mistake. That is not supposed to be. That sucks. Those stripes are on her, those stripes are on her skirt, not her headdress. And that's a little bit... Hey baby, I'll join you here in a half sec. Okay, that's 2. So let's get this. Boom, there we go, that's it. Sorry about that, folks. I am a sloppy man. I don't want to do that one again. Let's do it from this direction. So yeah, believe it or not, I spent months, over a year, using Krita every day, and I never noticed this little button here that allows you to... So what I would always do is create another layer and then alpha lock that layer, not even realizing I could alpha lock a layer on itself. So, okay, that's good. We've been rocking for a half an hour. I'm going to stop for now, and hopefully you've learned something, and we'll pick it up and do more later. As you know, that is my little tagline. There will be more later. Okie dokie. See ya.